Hello, I want to review a few things about proportion. So if we start with this example, so if we're told that y is directly proportional to the square root of x, and when x is a quarter, y is 3 over 2, or 1.5. And the question is, part A, find y in terms of x, and part B, find the value of y when x is 4, and part C, find x when y is equal to 9. Okay, so let's see, what do we need to do first? Well, we're told y is equal to the square root of, y is proportional to the square root of x. So we can say, what does it mean to be directly proportional? It means y is equal to k times the square root of x. So step one in a question like this is always to sort of write down a formula for y in terms of the other variable with this constant of proportionality k. And then the next step, well, we're given this piece of information that when x is a quarter, y is 3 over 2. So we can substitute those numbers in. We can replace x with a quarter and y with 3 over 2. And then we'll get 3 over 2 equals k times the square root of a quarter. And then, what is the square root of a quarter? It's a half. So we can say 3 over 2 equals k times a half. And then we need to find k. So we need to rearrange this to get k on its own. At the moment, we've got a half k on the right-hand side. So if we double both sides, if we times both sides by 2, we'll get 3 equals k. So we worked out that k is 3. So therefore, if we now put the value of k back into our formula in step 1, we can say y is equal to 3 times the square root of x. And that's the answer. That's a formula for y in terms of x. So a question that asks you to find y in terms of x that's about proportion is always asking you to find this value of k. Okay. And then part B says, find the value of y when x is 4. And now we've got this formula. So all we need to do is replace x with 4. So we can say y is 3 times the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2, so that's 3 times 2, which is 6. And then part C says find x when y is 9. So again, we've got the formula y equals 3 times the square root of x. And this time we're told y is 9. So we can just replace the y here with 9. And we get 9 equals 3 times the square root of x. And the question is to find x. So we need to somehow get x on its own. So first of all, let's see if we can get the square root of x on its own. So we need to ask ourselves, what can we do to both sides to just get root of x by itself on this side? And we can see we need to divide by 3. So we can do the same thing on the other side, and if we divide 9 by 3, we get 3. So 3 is equal to the square root of x. And we want to find x. So now we need to do something else that will give us x. So what can we do to both sides to undo the square root? We can square. So if we square both sides, we'll get x is equal to 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, so therefore x is 9. Okay, so let's now look at a different example. So this time, let's say we're given a table like this. We're told when x is 2, y is 1/16, and when x is 3, we don't know what y is. And the question is, given that y is inversely proportional to x, we want to x cubed. So given that y is inversely proportional to x cubed, the question is complete the table. So we're told y is inversely proportional to x cubed. We need to find the value of y when x is 3. So y is inversely proportional to x cubed. So what is the first step? We first need to write a formula in terms of k, the constant of proportionality. And remember, this proportional symbol, you can always replace this with equals and a k. So y is equal to k times 1 over x cubed. And that's the same as y equals k over x cubed. Okay. So this is our formula. So that's step 1, is always to write down this formula in terms of k. And then what do we need to do next? Well, we have this information from the table that when x is 2, y is 1/16. What are we going to do with that information? We'll put it into this formula from step 1. So we'll replace the y with 1/16, and we'll replace the x with 2. And we'll get y, that's 1/16, equals k over x, that's 2 cubed. And then we know that 2 cubed is 8, because it's 2 times 2 times 2. And we need to find k, so what can we do to both sides? Well, to get k on its own, we can times by 8. So we need to do the same thing on the other side, and we'll do 8 times 1/16, which is a half. So k is a half. And then we can put that back into the formula in step 1. So y is k over x cubed. That's a half over x cubed. So if we like, we could bring down the 2 into the denominator. Why is that? Well, if you have a fraction divided by something else, what we've really got here is a half times 1 over x cubed. And then we can multiply the top and multiply the bottom to give us 1 over 2x cubed. We're not quite done, so we found y in terms of x, but the question was to complete the table. So we need to work out what goes here in the missing gap. So when x is 3, what is the value of y? So all we need to do is replace the x with 3, because we know x is equal to 3. So we can say, when x is 3, y is equal to 1 over 2 times 3 cubed. And remember from BibMass, it's only the 3 that's being cubed. So this is 1 over 2 times 27, which is 1 over 54. So the answer, the missing number that goes in the table where there's a gap, is 1 over 54. And that's the answer. Okay, and we'll just look at one last question, which is, so in this question, we're told, given y is inversely proportional to x, find the values of a and b. And we're also given this graph, so let's see, so we've got the y-axis here, and then the x-axis here, and then in red we're given this curve like this, and we're given 3 different points on that curve. We're given the point 2, 10 up here, the point 5, a here, and the point b, 1 here. And the question is to find a and b. So the key piece of information that's going to be really helpful is that y is inversely proportional to x. So let's record what it means for y to be inversely proportional to x. It means that y is equal to k over x. So step 1 is always to write down, in terms of k, a formula for y in terms of x, where k is this unknown number that we have to find. And then what do we need to do next? Well, we've got a piece of information we haven't used, this point that's on the curve, this point 210. Well, what does that mean? If that lies on this curve, that means when x is 2, y is 10. So we can put in that information. So that would be the second step. So when x is 2, y is 10. So let's put that into this formula. So let's replace the y with 10 and the x with 2. And we get 10 equals k divided by 2. And then we need to find k. So what can we do to both sides? So we just need to get k on its own. So if we times both sides by 2, we get k equals 20. And now we can put that back into our formula that's in this box up here. So we've worked out k, so we can say therefore y is k, which is 20 over x. And now we should be able to find the values of a and b. Because, so this point A, so we know when x is 5, y is a. Because this point 5, comma a, the first value is the x value, the second value is the y value. So when x is 5, y is a. So if we put that information into our formula, this formula here, we get a equals 20 divided by 5, which is 4. So a is 4. And then to find b, we're going to use this point b, comma 1, that's in the yellow box here, and we'll put that into the formula again. So when x is b, y is 1. So we get y, that's 1. So let's maybe first say when x is b, y is 1. So we get b, that's y, equals 20. 1 is y. 1 equals 20 over b. And then what does b need to be? Well, maybe you can see it's 20, but if you can't see that right away, then just times both sides by b. So on the right, so on the left, we'll get b, and on the right, we'll just get 20. So b is 20. A is 4, b is 20.